bridging communities worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Submit your own content to 1530entertainmentllc@gmail.com. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.
Welcome to today's America. This is Nur Muhammad Tafadar, Millennium News 24/7. We have a special guest today, our esteemed, our good friend George Ortiz from Northern Westchester County. Viewers, our top news today: Biden administration testing Europe, NATO, Russia, and Ukraine. What is his plan? What he try to do? And what he try to do in American people? Politics is nasty. We like to bring our good friend George Ortiz to give the answer. Please.
Thank you, Noor. Nice to be here again. Yeah, the problem with Ukraine is being created by Putin and Trump. You know, basically they want to distract the world's attention from Trump's being tried for attempting a coup on our country. So this is a diversionary tactic that is failing, and it will fail because we, the United States, have NATO. Russia has no one, and basically, if they invade Ukraine, they will not just suffer economically; they will suffer militarily. So this is all, I believe, theatrics, trying to scare people, but it won't work.
But this is the time we thinking, yeah, Trump and Putin, they have a partnership. They have a business partner, they have a political partner, they have the same views. But so what's happened 2014?
Well, I mean, 2014 and 2022 are categorically different because of January 6th. We're living in an entirely different world. The Republicans got away with so much. They stole the election from Gore in 2000. They prevented Obama from nominating and appointing a Supreme Court justice. They have gotten away with so much, they overreached. The assault on the Capitol is classic overreach. So like this post-January 6th world is completely different from the way things were. And that's why the Republicans are really essentially a party in decline that they will need to either reform themselves or they will cease to exist.
You are bring lot of things. Republican, GOP, they are working for American people or they are working for their own pocket.
Well, nor the Republicans and the Democrats. We don't want to exonerate the Democrats on this either. They are both working for the rich. The rich pay for the campaigns, the political campaigns, so they win re-election. They're not working for us. We need to change that. One of the first things we need to do after Trump and his accomplices are in prison, we need to change our campaign finance laws and all to get the money out of politics so the rich are no longer calling the shots.
But Republican try to bring the case on the Senate, the campaign financing. Do you know that?
No, I wasn't aware of that actually. That's usually a Democratic issue.
Yeah, it's Democrat issue, but this time minority leader, he bring the case on the Senate floor. So very soon it's going to be bipartisan, they're going to be work. Hopefully it's going to be work. If not, our Christina Sinema, Joe Manchin, and some other guys also Democrat. They don't like our current administration. They don't like Joe Biden. They don't like Kamala Harris. What they like? They like to destroy this country.
Right, and we're going to have to tolerate them for a few more months. But in the November election, the number one issue is going to be how Trump invaded our country, tried to take over our government, and what's as important is that almost the entire Republican Party is still behind him. Now, the Republicans have basically, I don't know where their minds are. They really are. They've lost their morality and they've lost their reason. But independents and Democrats, we understand what's going on and what went on in January 6th. So, come November, there's going to be a landslide, avalanche of Democrat victors and across local, state, and federal because people are going to understand what Trump did and how dangerous not just he is to this country, how dangerous the entire Republican Party has become. So once we win those Senate seats, we can win easily a half dozen Senate seats or more in November. We don't need Manchin. We don't need Sinema. We will have more than enough senators to do everything we need to do about voting rights and so many other issues.
Why Democrat do not suspend them? What is the issue? Our majority leader, Chuck Schumer, what he doing? What his job? This 2% since last year, January 22 as of today, they are against every bill, voting right, social service, health care, all things. They are against Joe Biden and against this administration. What is our majority leader doing?
That's a good question. And I would think that they would be able to exert pressure on them in various ways to make them come in line. I would think they'd be able to do that. If they're not doing that, then the question becomes because perhaps they can't or they don't want to. So, and we have to look at that. But I'm seeing the big picture. I understand, yes, as long as they're blocking things can't get done. But I'm looking past November of this year. When next January we won't need them. So, and again, yes, they're a distraction. I'm also focused on not just prosecuting Trump, but Ivanka and Jared and Eric and Donald Jr. and Giuliani and all these conspirators. That's where the focus is. When we put them in prison for the rest of their lives, especially Trump, then the world will understand how this world has changed, how we can no longer afford a Republican Party. Once they understand that we Democrats, we the people, will be able to pass laws across the board for voting rights, for the environment, for the poor, But we have to do this first. We have to make sure that we prosecute Trump and his accomplices so that they're all ending up in prison, especially their inner circle, Ivanka and Jared and the rest.
You are right, but do you think since America independence, since 1776 to as of today, any American president go to the jail?
No, but this is the first time an American sitting president has attempted to overthrow the government. So it's a completely different world we're living in. And that, Noor, is why I'm so optimistic. You know, it's like we're going through a civil war right now. Thank God we're not killing each other, you know, beyond what happened January 6th. But we're going through a revolution, a civil war where the Republicans, it's like they were, when they were, you know, there was slavery. It was basically, you know, that ended. Now this Republican conspiracy of defending the rich, of abusing the poor, you know, all this, we're evolving beyond that. We're in the midst of the battle now, but I'm very optimistic because I see the end game. In the end game, we Democrats, Biden has the power. We have Congress, and if he needs to pack the Supreme Court, let's say the courts convicted Trump and the rest of them, and the Supreme Court attempted to overturn that, all Biden has to do is pack the court with as many new justices as is necessary to reverse that, and he's got the Congress to do that. So basically, we Democrats hold Trump cards, and that's why the Republicans lost.
No, last year and this year we see our Supreme Court, 9 justices, they working for American people. They have a voice. They are talking about people rights, human rights, fundamental rights. Okay? They are not working for the Trump administration. They do not work for Joe Biden administration. But they are working for American people. I see the last few bill, they throw out Trump case. You know that.
Yes, and I think they see the writing on the wall. They see that we're not going to tolerate these treasonous, like the 2000 decision where they stopped the recount, handing that election to Bush. That was illegal. That was criminal. We're not going to tolerate January 11th. And the Supreme Court knows that they better toe the line. Otherwise, Biden will pack the court before they know what's going on.
Exactly. That time, 2000 is difference from right now. That time the government, Bill Clinton on the power. Bill Clinton eyes whatever happened, but you know, he don't do anything. He do not do his executive power anything for Al Gore. We all knows what he did, but we don't want to bring those case. This time our sitting president, he did whatever he did, he destroyed our humanity. He destroyed our fundamental rights. He destroyed our voice. He destroyed our face worldwide. And he destroyed our democracy. What do you think?
Yeah, well, you're right. Clinton and Obama, they're owned as much by money as Biden. Okay, that hasn't changed. Money, the rich own both parties. But yes, now with Trump, the difference between back then and now, yes, the Democrats have not been perfect in a lot of ways. But now they're in a situation where they have to do the right thing. Biden has to imprison Trump, otherwise we lose our democracy. It's as simple as that. So yes, the Democrats, Biden, Clinton, Obama, I haven't believed them. I don't believe them now. Until we get money out of politics, then I'll stop believing them. But the reason I'm optimistic is because they have to prosecute Trump. There's absolutely no other way.
You are right. So hopefully our Senate, Congress and administration, Justice Department and Supreme Court all working together for only American people, not for destroying part. Okay, we like to see America grow up, American next generation grow up. Everyone can have a voice, but these days I don't see in America, in colorful people, they can vote coming days. Voting rights almost stopped 19 states. Why is 21st century these things happen in America?
Yeah, nor the reason it's happening because the Republicans see the writing on the wall. They see that their party is history, and they're doing whatever they can, but their days are numbered. Their days are numbered. Trump is going to prison, and every Republican who supported him is going to be voted out of office. So basically, that's why the insurrection, that's why Trump, they were out of answers. They're just doing whatever they could to disrupt things. That time is done. These prosecutions, as you said, it's not just the federal. In Georgia, there's going to be prosecutions across the board, and we're entering, Noor, a democracy 2.0. The first democracy would handed power from the monarchy, from kings, queens, to rich people. Okay, this 2.0 version of democracy that we're going to spread throughout the entire world is about the people, we the people controlling our destiny, rather than having a few people who just happen to be rich, just calling the shots because of that. We are in the midst of that revolution.
You are right. But these days we see the AP, New York Times, Washington Post, Guardian, Easter, and global media. They're talking about European, NATO's, and Western Alliance energy. Means how energy they have to fight with Russia for Ukraine. So America, Australia, and all NATO's country, European bloc, they're going to be all together, or they are just talking point still?
Well, again, it's a diversion, an entire, the threat of an invasion and all. And it's because we have a choice. If we go out, if we go to war with Russia, okay, it either is a conventional war or it's a nuclear war. If it's a nuclear war, everybody loses. So it has to be a conventional war. If it's a conventional war, the Russians are so outpowered by these countries, by NATO, we're not going to allow a country like Russia to invade the Ukraine or any other country. Those days are over. And Putin hasn't learned that yet, but he will soon.
These days, Russia, North Korea, Iran, and India, they have a supersonic missile. They can bring all the way from India to New York, or all the way from Moscow to New York. This is the way they have a plan on. I see the social media, they're showing how they're going to attack America. Last night, they're showing on Moscow TVs, RT and Russian TV and Moscow TV. They are showing these things. I was global network, So what is our American intelligence and what is our American friend and neighbor they're going to do with this kind of fight?
Well, if they launch a nuclear bomb, and they could not, they could do it probably, just shipping a nuclear bomb to this shore somehow, and just it doesn't have to be missiles. So they could launch that missile. I don't know if we have the deterrence against that. If we don't have a deterrence, then it's over for the world. It's we have destroyed the civilization. Otherwise, one thing about nuclear weapon is it has prevented wars in the past, because its mutually assured destruction is something that has blocked us. But again, some of these some of these poorer countries that are being destroyed by climate change, if they see no other option but to launch a nuclear attack on the United States, they may do that. And so we are to the extent that that's possible, we need to listen more to their concerns. I mean, if they have valid concerns, we need to hear them.
Very good. So viewers, we are going to short break. Please stay with us. And when we come back, we're going to bring our good friend talking about world global warming. Stay with us.
Millennium TV, bridging communities worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Submit your own content to 1530entertainmentllc@gmail.com. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.
Viewers, we are back again. Today's America, Millennium News 24/7. We are talking about worldwide pandemic attack. This virus, they don't have any clue. Politician knows where is this come from, but they do not discuss anything publicly. But these days also other things is our hand, whole world attacked by global warming. What we going to do? What is our job as a human? What is our job as a scientist, doctor, politician? What is our job for our own country, own block? What we are doing? This is we are talking about today with our good friend George Otis. George, America, some part is destroyed by flood, hurricane, and some part is snowstorm, some part of flood. What is going on our earth? What we are doing? What is our government job? And what government promise with us? Could you tell us what they're going to do?
Okay, Noor, yes. So we're talking about the pandemic and climate change primarily. Let's shift. Let's shift from politics to religion for a moment. Let's talk about God and justice and reward and punishment. The pandemic, we literally torture, we abuse severely tens of billions of farm animals throughout the world every year. I would guess this pandemic is our punishment for that. We're destroying the climate, and I would guess that Trump and this pandemic are punishment for that. We demonize the Republicans because they are the worst. They corrupt everyone, and then the rich, the evil rich. There's some good rich, fortunately, but basically we need to understand that this is a moral issue, that God is punishing us when we begin to do what is right, to care about the welfare of animals, to care about the future. Then God will bless us with the kind of democracy we want. But again, what I'm talking about isn't just about Republicans, it's Democrats, it's about all of us. God is saying to us, listen, you need to start being better to each other, to the animals, because to the extent that we don't, oppose our governments, politically in various ways to make them do the right thing, to the extent we don't do that, we get punished. All right, having said that, I'm optimistic. I'm optimistic that 4 years of Trump, this pandemic, and January 6th have been enough to teach us what we need to learn, to actually put us in a situation. It's not about learning anymore. It's about, like, if we want our democracy, we would do what's right. And the only way we can do what's right, imprisoning Trump and the insurrectionists, is to oppose money, to oppose the money that's defending them. once we're able to do that, then yes, we'll be able to prevent future pandemics. There's technologies that are available to do that. We need to fund them. And with climate change, we can hopefully talk more about how this idea that I've been promoting, climate rescue capitalism, can allow us to fund this fight on climate change. But once the money is out of politics, both with keeping safe, ending this pandemic, and finally doing what we need to do about climate change, that's going to be much, much easier.
That's right. You bring the religious. We are respect all human being. We are respect all religious. We are brother and sisters globally. But we have this earth. 4 prophets came. You know that. Dawood alayhi salam, Musa alayhi salam, and Isa alayhi salam. Then is coming Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. But if we respect as a human, we respect this all 4 prophet. You respect, I respect everyone. You are respecting Taurat, Judaism, and I respect. This is my religious too. But my prophet is Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Quran is our book. Your book is Taurat. But Christianity book is Injil. You know that Bible, so-called. What we are doing everywhere in the world these days, religious fight. If you go in southern eastern corner of America, like a Texas area, they have a fight with all religious. Christianity, they don't like Christian, they don't like Muslim, they don't like Jews. What they like, what they try to build in America, every corner. And same thing is West Virginia, same thing is Virginia, same thing is Colorado. What is going on? Why we are burning the synagogue? Why we are killing the when people going to pray in the morning Saturday in synagogue? Why we are doing that? What is our government job? What is our public community job? And what we are doing right now?
Yeah, well, I mean, the rich don't get to be rich without being smart and cunning and crafty and shrewd. And so what they do is they pump money into these religions to get the religions fighting each other, to get religious sects and factions fighting each other, so they're distracted from the main fight of fighting the rich. Again, there's a very few people. Washington Post, owned by Fred Ryan, New York Times, owned by Arthur Sulzberger, Rupert Murdoch, this horrible person, owns the Wall Street Journal and Fox News. So basically, this religious strife is created by the rich, so that we're too busy attacking each other on religious grounds to understand and finally overcome the rich.
They are not a religious human being. They do not practice anything. They just practice counting money, nothing else. So what is our government, federal government doing? Federal government not seeing anything?
Yeah, and I mean, right. And we're still in that. Once Trump is in prison, once the November elections happen and this world changes, we're going to be working on that. We're going to get money out of politics so that no longer runs everything. Once that happens, we can expect the world to become much more wonderful in every way.
Do you think our federal government and our Justice Department and our Supreme Court gonna put our ex-president Donald J. Trump in the jail?
Yes, and because there is no other choice. If we didn't do that, we would lose our democracy. If we didn't do that, we would set an untenable precedent of any president during the last months of the administration doing whatever they wanted without consequences. We're not going to do that. We value our democracy. We value our way of life. And yes, Biden's going to do the right thing. The Supreme Court is going to do the right thing because they're going to be forced to. And the Justice Department will prosecute not just Trump, but his family and his close associates that put our country through all of this.
You know, these days is America, so many states, every single day, gun violence. This is other thing both party is not doing. They are not care any human being in America, whatever black, white, brown, Asian, whatever we are, they do not care any human being in America. Rudolph Murdoch and our lobbyist in Washington, they are giving politicians millions of dollars. All parties, everyone get money. That's why they are killing our brothers and sisters everywhere in America. Right now, state of California, they issuing the insurance for the gun owners. You know, they can kill more people. They give the insurance to gun owner. If the gun by mistake kill somebody, they can claim insurance. What is going on in America now?
Yeah, no, with the gun issue, I live in close to New York City, and so we're kind of like safe in numbers. We don't need to carry guns. Maybe sometimes out in the West where there's like nobody else for miles, maybe they need, but they certainly don't need assault rifles. That's a different thing. And yes, that too many, in Canada, they own many more guns than we do in the United States. They don't kill each other. So, but that's just one issue. Like, how about the opioid epidemic? People like dying from these prescription medicines. The corporations, the people who don't care about the people who just care about profits, they kill people in so many ways that extend beyond gun violence. And that's why I'm optimistic that once we have to get money out of politics. So like the first step, imprison Trump. The second step is win the November elections, and the third step is get money out of politics. Once we do that, we will be able to the gun violence, Noor, is a reflection of the violence in our media. We have so many violent television shows and movies and books. We're fed this diet of violence that then it expresses that way. So we're going to change this world. The people who run it now, the rich, they don't care. They don't care how many people die as long as they're making the profits. We're going to change the world. So now we're going to be concerned with everyone. And the rich aren't going to be any more important or have any more benefits than anyone else.
2 days ago, last weekend, what's happened? Young man, 2 guys in police officer in Harlem, New York. You know that?
Yes.
They try to secure us. They try to secure our family, our brother and sister. Young boy, 22 years old. Another guy is 27 years old. They killed it,
Yeah, no, I know.
What kind of mental sickness is it?
It's this country. Our obsession with violence is it is sick. It's pathological, and that's why Trump rose to power. That's why when Trump was insulting people and threatening people, people didn't care. So we're at a point where now we see that these violent acts, these violent tendencies, that our culture, the violence of our culture, that causes people to die at the hands of the police, like George Floyd. It also causes people like Trump to rise up and try to take over our country. So now we have more than enough reason to clamp down on what fuels that violence.
You are right. George Floyd, from that time to as of today, our colorful people, every single day, they are victim, and they are victim also, they are dying, also they are defender too. These days I see in Oregon, I see Texas, Arizona, Oklahoma, California, New York, all big cities, every single day violence, domestic violence to street violence, street gang to house gang. This is the way is going to be America run, or they have any peaceful solution? What is our Joe Biden administration doing though? Justice Department doing? They are working for American, or they are working for somewhere in Ukrainian?
No, I grew up here in Westchester County, right above New York City, and in the 60s and 70s and 80s, there was so much more crime. There were so many more police killings and all that. It's gone down so much. So we've made a lot of progress. But the reason we can't make more progress yet is because there are people like Trump in the world, people like Trump who don't care about people who promote violence. So once we defeat them, and we're in the process of doing that, then yes, then we'll be able to understand, why this violence happening and just have a zero tolerance for it.
We don't want to destroy our democracy. Our speaker, House minority leaders, Senate majority leaders, minority leaders, and State Department, Attorney General Office, White House, if they're working together, hopefully America gonna be people love it, peace and love and harmony. But we are not working together. And all American, like 50 states, 50 governors, and 3 territories, all governors, they are not a same page, same mind. What they try to do? They're going to destroy their community, their neighborhood, their state, or what else?
Yeah, I mean, I hear you, Noor, and I'm optimistic though, because like with January 6th, the entire equation changed. So what do we need to do? 3 steps. We need to convict Trump, imprison him for the rest of his life. Then through that, the Democrats need to win historic gains in the Senate. So they don't have to worry about a mansion in Sonoma. They'll have more than enough senators to pass whatever they want. And once that happens, we get the money out of politics. That the money in politics is the root of all of this. And I think we finally understand this. We finally understand with climate change, even with this pandemic. So it's 3 steps. We prosecute Trump, put him in prison. We win big the Democrats win big in the November elections, and we get the money out of politics. And then we can see gains. This can be a historic movement into a much more peaceful world, a world where basically people are working on behalf of people rather than working on behalf of the rich. And Nor, we may want to talk about this some other episode, but like this idea that I'm promoting, this climate rescue capitalism, I also refer to it as profit donation capitalism. When we buy things in stores, we can buy our products from companies that aren't there to make rich people richer. They're there to fight climate change. They're there to use the money from sales of our purchases to make the world better in all these ways. So basically, we're moving in. It's like the period before and after the Civil War. Before the Civil War, it was horrible. We went through that, and we created a country without slavery. Right now, we're in a moment where we're doing the exact same thing. The Republicans overreached. We're ending them, and we're going to create not just a new country, but by that, a brand new world.
You are right, but government investing these days billions of dollars for natural gas, electric car, and solar panel. But they give the money to rich people, not you and me, or not any colored people. They give their own people. You know that. So how you going to expecting is going to be peaceful way, is going to be healthy way they're going to do the business?
The way we're going to address that, Noor, is back with FDR or Eisenhower. Under Eisenhower, the top tax rate was 92%. The federal tax rate. So basically, yes, these companies will have money that they raise through their businesses, but they will be taxed at whatever level we need to tax them to do what we need to do. And the other thing is, again, like even before that, the way these companies have power is by influencing our politicians, campaign finance. Once we change the voting laws, and we can begin to do that starting in January, these rich won't have that power anymore. It's that we're going from, we went from a monarchy. We thought it was a democracy, but it was actually a plutocracy, a rule by the rich. And we're now transitioning into a world where we, the people, through our laws, through getting the money out of politics, which is the holy grail, that's how we're going to create a much better world.
You are right. Before we going to break, one of the gentlemen from Kennedy family, RFK Jr. You know that what he did in Washington 2 days ago. What kind of democracy we are? His family from Democratic family, Democrat family, but how he treat Democrat right now in America, what is going on with him, and what he try to do, what he try to achievement. Do you have any idea?
Well, Noor, I mean, again, right now the Republicans and Trump are the enemy, but the Democrats need to be reformed. The Democrats pretend to be so good. They pretend that they're fighting for the rights of the people when all the time they're basically fighting for the rights of the rich. And the Kennedys are in that class. You wouldn't expect more from them. So basically, yes, this is the answer to that. Just like the answer to whatever we could talk about is we get the money out of politics, and then JFK Jr., whoever it is, cannot do what they're doing now. They would not have the power to do that.
The lobbyist right now, every corner, everywhere. See, this guy, he is against vaccination, against virus, against max, against all kind of medication. What he try to do? He's a drug addicted guy or what? Or mental sick?
Yeah, and Biden, I think, may want to get tough. Biden may want to get tough on the news networks like Fox that promotes, this doubt of the vaccines and not taking the vaccines. These people in power, Rupert Murdoch, Fred Ryan, these people are basically lying to people, and so we need to clamp down on that. And as long as these rich people can have these like major news organizations where they spread the kinds of lies whereby people don't understand the importance of vaccines and distancing, when they create those kinds of lies, that's what the problem is. So we have to address the problem at the root. We have to prevent those rich corporation owners, news corporation owners, from being able to lie to the people like that. That's the next step. Once we get money out of politics starting in January, that's probably one of the first things we'll do.
You know that whole world watched Australia last week. The tennis star they deport from Greater Yugoslavian tennis star, but Rudolph Murdoch live in Canberra, Australia. He is British Australian. You know that.
And he's American together.
And he have a few channel also Australia, but Australian people against his all activities. Australian Parliament, provincial Parliament, provincial governors, everywhere against him. He cannot do any kind of things in Australia. How he came to in American continental America, from Australia to do business, America, Britain, Europe, what is going on? Our Western alliance, they are sleeping.
Yeah, Noor, I mean, this is one of the major problems we have. Our news, what we know and don't know, what we're told, is in the hands of very few people. Rupert Murdoch, Fred Ryan, Washington Post, Brian Roberts, CNN. There's a handful of people, maybe 12 at most, who control the information. As long as they're doing that and they're rich and they're protecting the rich, we can't do what we need to do. So along with campaign finance reform, getting the money out of politics, we need to reform the news media. So people that nobody elected, they don't represent the people, they represent themselves. It is very wrong, it's very dangerous to have a small number of self-interested people control the news media.
My friend, stay on the line. Viewers, we are going to short break again. Please stay with us.
Millennium TV, bridging communities worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Submit your own content to 1530entertainmentllc@gmail.com. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV. Millennium TV, bridging communities worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content.
Viewers, we are back again. Today's America. America is destroying our politician, our friends, our colleague, our brother, our sister. We have to be same phase, same side. America have to be built by immigrant. Since 1776 to as of today, we have a lot of issue. Statewide, federal-wide. Federal government getting money from taxpayer. They investing money for the fighting out of the public. Means they do not invest any money in America. They investing money Eastern Europe, Middle East, South Asia, African continental. People watching American life worldwide. They are laughing and smiling. America, this kind of disaster, people thinking is not America anymore. This is one of the disaster country in the world. Every single day, violence, domestic violence, family violence, street gang, corner gang, so many things. Everyone have a gun. So gun maker making money. Our politician making money. But our brother and sisters, law enforcement authority, they are dying, public is dying. We claim so many states, so many cities, police also misuse their authority. It's too bad. It's like Texas, Minnesota, Oklahoma, California, East Coast, they cannot do it. People is awake. Everyone knows what is their neighborhood police doing. So we have to talk about right now our life in America. Our life is already destroyed. Our ex-president, he destroyed our life worldwide. Not only America, whole world. January 6, every corner of the world, people watching what is going on. One of the largest, biggest democratic country in the world, in America. How people destroy their Congress and Senate House. Our federal government, federal agent, so many federal agency, NSA, FBI, ATF, Secret Service, so many things, Army, Air Force, Navy, Coast Guard, so many things. But Donald Trump stopped everything. And his administration stopped everything. And these guys destroyed our Capitol Hill. Worldwide, people is laugh. so-called democratic society. If America bring the democratic talk anywhere, people take off from the table. Reason? America, they don't have a democracy. Why they came to our land to teaching us? This is shameful job we did our nation. So-called black and white is worst things. Viewers, we are going to Middle East right now. We thinking Barack Obama bring the IS in the worldwide. Barack Obama gone and Donald Trump came, IS finished. Iraq is done and Syria also done. It's destroyed. Where is the new IS group come from? Right now, Iraqi border from Syria, they attack and they killed, arrest, rape so many people. Iraqi Prime Minister visit their side. What is going on? Our world leaders, they told no more IS in the Middle East. Where is this come from? Who make it? Where is it? And how they came? Why they have a all American car driving? This is shameful. So we're going to ask our colleague and friends, Mr. George Otis. George, do you have any idea what is going on in Middle East?
Well, yes, we have these terrorist organizations throughout the world in the Middle East, but we have to remember the locus of power, where power really resides in the world, is here in the United States. And the terrorist organization that we have here, people are finally beginning to understand that they have become a terrorist organization, is the Republican Party. These Republicans who, even after Trump attempted to overthrow our government, support him, have become a terrorist organization. So we're in the process now of prosecuting Trump, prosecuting his accomplices, prosecuting essentially at the polls the entire Republican Party. And so once they are out of power, then yes, we need to listen to what's going on in the Middle East. We need to listen to the concerns, and we need to basically understand that injustices, just like injustices in the United States fuel violence, injustices throughout the world fuel violence. We need to have a dialogue. I think that people throughout the world are listened to, are engaged in constructive dialogue that isn't controlled by the money. Then I think we can arrive at the kind of solutions we want. But the first step in all of this is to prosecute Trump, prosecute the Republican Party as the #1 terrorist organization in the entire world. Once the Republicans are made to pay the price, perhaps disbanded, then we can address, ISIS and the other kinds of organizations in the Middle East and throughout the entire world.
Can I ask you some other question? You are against Trump, against Republican. I understood. Everyone have views. But since 1972 to as of today, the general amnesty in America for all illegal people, they came from whole of the world and they legalized in America. Who did it? Do you know that? You don't. I'm going to tell you. One time did Reagan, 1970. 1986 did, 1972 did Nixon. And 86 did Reagan. The American history, these two times, they give the general amnesty for all illegal immigrant, unauthorized immigrant people, But since 1986, 8 years our Bill Clinton administration, 8 years our Obama administration, and right now another year is coming, our Democratic administration. So what is the Democrat did? Democrat did anything for any people in America?
Okay, and here's where, the fault lies with the Democratic Party. I mean, also the Republicans. And basically, what's happening is like the Democrats say, yes, from these poor countries in South America. Come here, we get cheap labor, but that's the wrong answer. What we should have been doing for decades, what the Democrats should have been advocating, is to help them, to trade with them, to bring them more into the economy, to develop their economies so people don't need to escape, and also to improve their governments, that they get, if they go from poverty to the middle class, their governments improve. So basically the Democrats, going far back, and yes, I mean, the Republicans have done some good. I mean, with opening up China, Nixon opened up China, that was wonderful. Our problem with the Republican Party now is they're no longer the party they used to be. They're now the party of, like, they want what they want, and they could care less about the people and about the law. That's why we must end them. The Republican Party have just they are the problem in the world because they're defending. They, much more than Democrats, defend the money that's controlling our politics. So that's the answer to that. We need to basically understand who the enemy is, the rich who through the Republican Party are preventing us from doing what we need to do for immigrants and for pretty much every other issue.
George, one question I have. Democrat, they are not doing anything for anyone. They just power hungry, same like Republican. Our current administration, they try to do something good. Attorney General try to do something good. But our Democrat Party is destroyed right now. Not only Joe Manchin and Christina Sinema, our Chuck Schumer, to all the leaders in Democrat House and Senate, they are worse than Republican. They do not work for their community, they do not work for their families, and they do not work for their congressional seat. You know that. So what we have to do as a voter, we have to put somebody else on the sideline to independence or against the Democrat. What do you think?
Well, Noor, I'm hoping that won't be necessary. The Democrats, you're right, the Democrats have been pretending to care for decades, and they've been in the hands of the rich, just like the Republicans. Now it's a completely different story. The Democrats are in the position where they have to protect our democracy. If they don't protect our democracy, if Trump goes free, we don't have a country anymore. The Democrats are not going to allow that to happen. And so part of that is they know, the Democrats know that if they don't get things done for the American people will vote for a Republican. And so what they have to do is then essentially begin working for the American people, getting the money out of politics. The Democrats, we're in a situation like with climate change. We don't have a choice. It's not like what we want to do, it's what we must do. The Democrats are in a position now where they must seriously and strongly attack the Republican Party, defeat them, so then they have the votes. Then they can't blame the Republicans anymore, and then they'll have the votes to not just get the money out of politics, but do, again, everything. Climate change, reducing poverty, lessening guns across the board. The Democrats, you're right, they have talked, that they haven't been sincere. Now they're in a position where they must do the right thing because the consequences of not doing the right thing is unthinkable.
Russia already threatening Western alliance, NATO's America. Russia said America, Republican or Democrat, they both is liar. They are not doing 100% commitment with any country for anything. So if this time America, blaming Russia, America going to be suffer heavily. What do you think?
Well, I mean, the problem with Russia is they're not any more democratic than we are. I mean, Putin is their autocratic leader. They don't have a democracy. So yes, they can point to the flaws in our democracy, but it's still, I believe that rule by the people, for the people, and of the people is much better than some person, or just a tyrant, whatever, just deciding what happens. The Russians, if they had a government that was really, really fair, if they weren't attempting to invade Ukraine or trying, then they'd have some credibility. But like, you know, they're just worse than we are.
You see, Republican, they have a modern, this generation, young guys, they are active, like a Miami mayor. He respect all parties and the guy respect rule of law on the country. Whatever the Sante, Governor Santa doing, he is against. So right now, we have a new generation, Democratic Party and Republican Party. But hopefully coming days is going to be helpful for our country. If new generation come over, take over the power. But our politician is so greedy. Their age is over 80, over 90. Still they are in the Senate. Still they are in the House. What kind of power greedy human being we are, Mr. George?
Yeah, and you know, we need to go back over this over and over until everyone understands that the reason both the Republicans and the Democrats are corrupt is because they are beholden to their financiers, the people who fund their campaigns. We, the people, need to understand that nothing of substance that needs to get done will get done until we get the money out of the politics. Now we're in the position that we can force the Democrats to do that. You know, we can force them to attack because the Republicans have been the main party that have been protecting the money in politics. You know, so now, you know, once the momentum is going to discredit them, to disempower them, the Democrats will no longer have an excuse for getting money out of politics, and it goes way beyond that. I mean, like, we're between climate change and pandemic, you know, people are understanding that the rich are the ones who are preventing us from doing what we need to do, and it's gotten to the world with the pandemic, with everything we're going through, that we're not going to tolerate it anymore. We understand the problem. We're going to stay focused on it until money is out of politics.
Very good. Our last question today, so many corner on the world, like a Pacific coast, Tonga, Indonesia, Spain, Hawaii, and so many Atlantic coast too. So is happening volcano everywhere on the ocean and river. How we can stop this? We have any kind of scientific theory to stop these things?
Well, Noor, at the beginning of this segment, we shifted from politics to religion. I want to shift there again. So basically, yes, this volcano was like, it was stronger than a nuclear bomb. And we have a volcano here in the United States, the Yellowstone caldera, the Yellowstone supervolcano that could erupt at any moment. So basically, how do we stop this from happening? We begin to become good, decent people, really good people, to please God. This is in the hands of God. If the Yellowstone caldera blows, civilization is gone. Okay, so that's how dangerous a risk that is. And our only defense against that is to become the kind of people that God needs us to be.
Very good. Thank you, George. Thank you for come over today. And we're going to bring you another day, another time. Okay, my brother? Viewers, our time is end for today. Please stay with Millennium News 24/7, round the clock, and today's America. We are in all iOS device and Android device. Also, we are in all smart TVs and Android TVs, Apple TVs. Also, we are on Samsung, LG, Sony. Viewers, we have another platform called Roku Stick, Apple Box, and Roku Stick, and Amazon Stick. Viewers, our all social network address is Millennium News 24/7. Our website www.millenniumnews24.com, also www.millenniumtv24.com. Viewers, our colleagues and friends round the clock working for you internationally, locally, domestically, in-house. Please watch Millennium News 24/7. 24/7 round the clock. Viewers, whatever you are, stay, peace, love and happiness. Goodbye and take care for today.